Hey everybody.
Sean and Kelly here, Price and Price Group of eXp Realty. What are we talking about?
Today we're talking about 12 signs that you're working with the wrong realtor.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the 12 ways to tell if you are working with a not great realtor.
Yes, lemon of a realtor, but I have something to say. This is going to be really great. So I did a whole lot of
It's going to be really great.
Just wait. This way, I'm about to say that
I'm
I'm
going to
good.
be so smart. Okay.
So I spent quite a bit of time compiling all the lists, and this was accurate, right? And I wanted to make sure that I was like, oh, please don't let us check any of these boxes, right? And I'm going to tell you, you check one. And I check one.
Oh, so
and
we're
going through, I want you
self-proclaim.
to see if, like, you can call yours out and call mine out if you notice it.
Okay.
So this is
All right,
going
let's
to
see
be
what
really
happens.
great.
Oh man, this is going to be great.
Yeah. Okay.
But you need to have all 12.
No, that's not true.
disqualify
The thing
them.
is the thing that checks yours, I'm like, got this. The
True.
thing that I
Fair.
check, don't worry.
Fair. Oh, I know what yours is. I already know yours.
Have to do with my
here we go.
mouth?
Yes, it does. All right, here we go. Item number 1. What's our first item?
The first
And notice the beautiful presentation. It is not a PowerPoint. It is presented by our lovely graphics designer.
using Canva.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, sign number 1, the MIA agent.
Yes.
Right? Have
Yeah.
you ever been ghosted?
Have you ever just wondered where your agent went to?
Have you
Is that
ever?
right? Went off
No,
to?
don't say that either. Do you have unanswered messages? Right? Whether this is texts, emails, whatever. They don't.
Do you wonder what's going on in your situation? Do you wonder, has my house been shown?
Yeah. Is it, oh, wow, this property I've been asking you to show me for a few days is now under contract. Did you completely drop the ball with my showings and with the other agents, right?
Yep.
Unavailable, all that kind of stuff. So
you need communication, basically, is where this comes in. So an agent that's very communicative, some agents may be like, they may have times when they're not available. So for example, there's about 3 to 4 hours a day when I'm on the phone searching for buyers for our sellers that I'm not picking up phone calls and I'm not responding to texts.
And I am.
But Kelly's covering it. So that's, there needs to be a system in place to make sure that communication does happen.
Yeah, and it's not like you have to wonder who to text with us at any given time because we use the same phone number. So we're both getting our clients' texts and you get us both. We're like one person. Oh,
The yin and the yang. I don't know which one.
We're a one-person suit. Okay, so real estate can be a roller coaster, and you need someone along for the ride and not a disappearing act.
That's
I
right.
added like these fun little wonderful
Little
things.
quips at the bottom.
Yeah. Okay.
Quips.
Number 2.
When your realtor gets killed during the negotiation.
No, not. Oh shoot. That's what Carrie. I was like.
Okay.
Why'd you let me do that?
Because I wanted to play that so bad. Okay.
I meant know-it-all.
I know what you meant. Okay, is your agent a know-it-all?
Oh my gosh, I feel like such a dummy.
So here's what I
Killed
take.
in action. I'm so sorry for any realtors who've been killed in action.
Or anybody, like seriously, on that note. But
honestly, a moment of silence. I feel like such a
okay.
a douche. Okay.
All right. So she obviously did not grow up military. Anyway, okay. So I take this to be a situation where the know-it-all agent is someone who doesn't.
I keep saying killed in action.
Someone who doesn't take your goals into account. So
Right.
they assume they know what you're looking for. They don't really hear what they can't customize their plan to you because they're not here to serve you. They're here to serve what they think you want. Is what I take that to mean. What is your perspective on that?
That's true. Well, and I think the person too who always has to prove themselves to be the expert, in all ways, all the time, no matter what. Well, and that's great. Like you want an expert when you ask the question where you need that expert opinion or advice. But really, especially at the outset, we need to ask you the questions and sit there and listen and know how you want everything to happen. don't get talked over. That means they are more interested in hearing themselves talk and what they have to say than hearing what you have to say.
And this goes not only in the relationship with you, but this relationship with you is also the relationship they're going to have with other agents. So when they're negotiating, or if you're working with a buyer's agent in the current market, you need to be able to get rapport with that seller's agent to try to strengthen your offer. And if they can't build that rapport with you, they can't build it with the other agent. That's going to affect you on the transaction side as well.
Right, and I put on here, if they criticize other agents to you, and how this can happen is, let's say you found this home and you want to put an offer in on it, and the agent's like, oh, I've worked with Susie Q, the seller's agent in the past, and let me tell you, and they give you this whole
drama spiel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a kind of a warning sign, because that's not how you play nice with others, right? Yeah. You got to be able to work with everybody, and we have to be friendly with everybody and respectful with everyone. And I don't know, I don't really like that.
And really, as the client, you shouldn't be worried about the other side. You shouldn't be worried about who the agent's dealing with. All you need to worry about is your relationship with the agent.
Yeah. So
we could be dealing with a really, really harsh agent on the other side of the transaction.
It doesn't matter.
You as our client will never know that. We're just going to bring you the facts, and we're going to talk about what we need to do to make a transaction happen, because you have enough stress in this process. You don't need to worry about the other party.
Yeah, and it's not about being better. I mean, we are better.
Know-it-all. I'm gonna call you Kia.
Is this your weakness? So bad.
No, this isn't.
No, this wasn't my weakness. So acts like there's only one way to get a job done.
Yep.
That's not true. There are so many different ways that we can work with your personality, your style, how you want to do everything, and we'll hit on more of that later. There's not only one way, but there is the right way in every situation.
Yeah,
right.
That's right, absolutely right. Yeah, and that's the beauty of real estate. It's very flexible. It's very creative. So. Financing, working a deal, coming to an agreement. Yeah. There are multiple ways to make these things happen. As long as they're ethical and legal, then you gotta be creative.
And you're good to people. You're good to each other and your agents.
Okay.
Okay, number 3, disorganized.
Is this me?
Yes.
Okay.
That's you. Chaos abounds, but don't worry, I'm in charge of the paperwork. Forgotten appointments? You don't really forget appointments.
I don't forget appointments.
Yeah, you really don't.
Actually, I'll forget appointments sometimes. You'll be like, "Hey, aren't you supposed to be?"
Well, I've got my alarms and the big boot on my shoe to get you going out the door. Miss deadlines? You don't miss deadlines, because I handle that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Between the two of us, we check all the amazing good boxes.
So in my defense, I do miss stuff.
Yeah, you do.
So yes, she is very much our detail-oriented person. I'm more the one that's like in the chaos, bouncing around, doing all kinds of things, and then she will keep me focused and everything. So it's good to have that balance.
Going, negotiating, making these amazing relationships with other agents and our clients. But what I've written is, a successful real estate transaction is a fine-tuned thing of beauty.
Yes.
And that's what I will bring, is this fine-tuned thing of beauty with the paperwork and deadlines and all that kind of stuff.
And
it doesn't just happen.
I want to say one thing with that, and this is the baseline, having that organizational system in place so that things don't get missed. Because almost every transaction has chaos.
Oh, right.
If you throw chaos in on chaos, you get more chaos. If you throw chaos in on a structured system, then quite often that chaos could be handled and juggled appropriately.
Exactly.
And what we'll do a lot of times is we hit chaos that is something that caught us kind of off guard or something. We make a system to predict that chaos next time. So we're constantly building our systems up.
Yeah, and if I were dumb enough to say something like, I can't even remember the last time something's caught us off guard, then something would catch us off guard. So I'm not that dumb. Not today, I'm not. Well, I mean, I was when I did the KIA thing. I met my dumb quota for the day.
Yes, you're quotized.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, negative. Yes, this is huge. So
say no to this, Nancy.
So negativity. This is you're going to have a lot of potential fears that come up in a transaction, whether you're on the sales side or the buy side. You're going to have a lot of stressors that come up just because it's a big transaction, whichever way you're going with this. Yeah. And if you have an agent that is just a negative personality, that can translate into a lot of things. And I cannot tell you how many agents I spoke to in the last year who were very, very negative about the real estate market. They were very negative about the real estate business. They were very negative about what was happening. And what they were doing is I would see them leading their clients in a way where, oh my gosh, interest rates are going up, prices are about to crash, and all their clients were sitting on the sideline while all the other clients were going ahead and taking advantage of this. So you can get swayed in a way that negativity,
you get pulled down in that spiral,
and you miss opportunities with that. Not only does it drag you down and suck your energy out, but you miss opportunities when your agent is not, doesn't have a positive outlook and doesn't see the opportunities. They only see the potential downfalls.
Even in the little things, like they're complainers. They speak ill of others. They're very suspicious of other people. When they put that kind of energy, whenever you're showing you a property or dealing with the homeowners. I mean, we've even talked to someone who got turned off on a property because they had an older agent who had said, I think it was 2 owners ago, oh, they lived here and it was like this, and it just sat, they didn't even want to look at it anymore, and they missed out on what could have been a really beautiful.
Yeah, so you don't want a negative agent. You want somebody who's looking for opportunities.
So every property has flaws, and there are plenty of ways to overcome them. Work with an agent determined to help you make the right thing work, not just make anything work. I'm not saying that, make the right thing work for you.
That's a great point. So you walk into a property. You're welcome, Kelly. In this market, if you're looking for the unicorn, number one, a negative agent's going to tell you that unicorn doesn't exist. You might as well get out. Okay, that's thing one. Number thing two, you walk into a property, and let's say it's not the perfect house. Let's say the paint, it's colored, but like it's got a black kitchen. Or it's got...
That was gorgeous.
Well, it actually was. But it's got something about the house you don't like. If you're with a negative agent, they may just be like that instantaneous negative response.
Color is going to be so hard to paint over.
We need to move on. Versus, yes, but you can do this, this, and this, and make this your dream home. Let's do it. So you have to be able to see the opportunities in all situations.
Yeah, that's true.
All right.
Facts.
Number 4.
Tech challenged. 2,000 called. Facts.
Don't talk about my
funny.
AOL account. Faxed. I get it.
I wrote it right there.
Yeah.
It was such a funny thing. I had to type it out and everything. I'm so glad.
Well, the AOL account.
You still have an AOL account.
It's for my chiropractic account. I don't use it anymore. But anyway.
That took a lot of work to get you not to use that.
Oh, and if these microphones are messing up, okay, so we're a little bit audio text challenged maybe. But
which is, you know what? I blame our oldest daughter for that.
Yeah, because
she's in film school. She's about to graduate. She shouldn't put up with this from her parents.
She should be
what? I'm going to send her these videos and make her see what
she's done to us. Okay, tech challenge. They don't.
Should do better.
They demand. They insist on meeting in person to review contracts versus using Zoom, and there's a lot of situations where you can be so much more efficient. Now, if the client prefers to do everything in person and handwritten, that's fantastic.
That's a horse of a different color.
It's a horse of a different color. But if the agent insists on not using technology,
what would we do today with all this beautiful inches and inches of snow?
We would not be making a video if we were tech challenged.
Oh, right. So moving on, they don't use e-signatures, right?
Yeah.
That's a huge thing.
Yep.
They print their maps out or directions for you. Hey, I brought you your own printed directions.
Step by step from MapQuest. Turn left into...
Oh, wait, what if it's a highlighted map?
Okay, all right. Okay, anyway, so technology is a big part of the business. We're getting so off.
Or he or she doesn't text.
Yeah, or they don't text.
That's the other thing.
That does happen.
Okay.
Agents that just won't text. Okay.
Does it really?
Yeah. Like you send them a text and they don't respond. They're like, oh, I don't like to text. It's like, what are you talking about?
Then don't be okay.
Offensive. Is this your weakness?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like, shoot. Off color that can't be repainted. We were talking about being able to repaint a black kitchen.
Yes, but you can't repaint.
You can't repaint a
13-year-old sense of humor. 13-year-old boy's sense of humor.
Sorry. Inappropriate jokes, unfair assumptions. I don't make unfair assumptions.
No. And you don't really make inappropriate jokes.
I assume things after proof.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be an assumption, right?
Yeah.
I don't do snide remarks.
You do snide remarks. That's your weakness.
Because
you're pretty good at inappropriate jokes. You don't tell jokes.
I am good at inappropriate jokes, right?
You're good at them, and you're good at when to tell them. But
yeah, right. I know my audience.
You're snidey. You got the snide remark.
I'm snidey?
Yes, you're snidey. You're snotty. Okay.
It's vital you work with an agent
I
who
can't read that.
respects you and dignifies you always.
Yes. Whew. That was a tough one.
I feel beaten down.
And this wasn't even the one I was going to talk about with you. I just realized that's not the one that I had originally
Oh
picked.
shoot, I hope this is the one that was mine. I don't want to.
Okay,
Poor negotiator. I'm a good negotiator.
Okay, this is important. She is a very good negotiator. This is
so
really
are you.
important. Thank you.
You see that graphic?
Go back to offensive. Okay, I can't unsee it. Okay, so important. Okay, so how do you know if you're working with an agent that's a poor negotiator? Here's the way that you can tell. Number one, if they're a discount agent, and not all discount agents are bad negotiators, but as a general rule, if their sales pitch to you is that we're going to come in lower, that means they're not willing to protect their money. They're not willing to compete with their money. How are they going to compete with your money? How are they going to compete with your best interests and protect you? So you want somebody who at least pushes back.
Right.
All commissions are negotiable. This is known. But you don't want somebody who just caves immediately and immediately goes to the lowest level, because that's what they're going to do with your sales price.
And that's why I tried to make the point. Okay, the first clue is how they earned your business. Did they fold, or it's not did they fold, or did they play hardball, or did they convince you of their worth?
Yeah.
Right? That's the key right there. It's not just, hey, I want 58%. Okay, I'll take one. It's like, okay, let's talk about this. This is what I bring to the table. This is what we've determined it's worth. Oh, you don't want photography, or you don't, whatever it is, let's have the conversation, and you need to know how they negotiate with you is how they're going to negotiate for you.
Yep.
Right.
And it's not just negotiating on commissions or on business structures. It's also negotiating with you on your actual situation. So for example, if you're a buyer and you're like, I want this kind of property and I want it at a deal. And you're in a market like we're in that right now, if that agent says, great, we'll go find it, let's get in the car.
Yeah.
Or if they don't tell you, you know what, we got to make some adjustments here, let's kind of get realistic about what's going on.
Yeah.
If you're on the sales side, if you think your house is worth $800,000 and the agent knows it's worth $675,000, but they're willing to take your $800,000 listing just to put it on the market to get buyer leads.
Yeah.
You just have to watch all these things. Do you ever get any kind of pushback?
You're ruining it. I have no pushback on one of these. Stop. You're going too far. I was trying to be polite. Okay.
Okay. Anyway.
It's like they're a doormat, right? They never give any resistance.
Yes.
Maybe it should have been 11. Number 8. Unethical. Forget some of what he just said. Slippery little suckers. Name that movie.
I have no idea.
Oh my gosh.
Young Guns.
You would think so, but no.
I have no idea.
Pretty Woman.
You almost didn't know either.
I did not.
Okay.
Have you ended up seeing that there are undisclosed issues? Right? We're bound to report any material facts of a property, even though our property disclosures are a little bit wonky and weird. Have there been any shady dealings that they've discussed with you? Like, hey, you know what? I was able to negotiate that. That's kind of a red flag, right?
Yeah. Everything in real estate has to be done ethically, because there are two parties on this. There's a lot of money at stake. Number one, it's just wrong to be unethical, but number two, it's also puts you in a position of potential liability. If you don't disclose something, for example, and a buyer comes in and buys your house, they could sue you later for non-disclosure. Yeah. So there are risks in real estate. So you want an agent that is going to be ethical in all dealings.
Yes, and I want to hit on the last point, the playing both sides, for just a second, about the dual agency.
Yeah.
So in the state of Virginia, you are allowed, and we always ask our clients to sign off on dual agency representation. So that means that we as an agent can represent both you, the buyer or seller, and the other side, that buyer or seller, right? Tell them, please, why we do this.
Well, so if you're a buyer in your buyer broker agreement, or if you're a seller in your listing agreement, we have it check off that you authorize dual agency, simply because if, for example, so dual agency would be a situation where I represent a seller, it's our listing, Kelly and I, and then we have the buyer as well, so we go in and we have both situations.
Dude, I just said that.
I know, I'm just clarifying.
Gosh.
So in that situation, if the buyer or the seller had not authorized us to do that, we wouldn't even be able to show that property, because
Yes.
it creates that situation. But once we show that property, if the buyer exhibits any interest in the property, we immediately will refer one of the parties to another agent, so that everybody has their protections, everybody has their confidentiality, and so on.
So being allowed to play both sides throughout the entire process does not mean that it's really advisable, because it does tie our hands to be able to completely and fully represent you in a fiduciary way, right?
Yep.
Even though we have you sign off so that we can show all the properties. So
now, why would an agent do this? Well, if you're the listing agent and you have a listing agreement at 6%, and you're representing both buyer and the seller, you as the listing agent get the full 6%. You don't have to split that with another agent.
Yeah.
So that's why
and all commissions are negotiable, right?
So that's just an example, of course. But yeah, so that's how this can happen. But you really want to. So that's just one example. But you really want to watch the ethics of your agent.
And my little note is, while it's good to have a guy for that, you always want your guy to be above board and good for you.
Yep.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I got a guy.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So, all right. Sign number 9, a part-timer, right?
Yes.
It's not for moonlighters. Now, this isn't, it's great to get into real estate. There are ways to get into real estate part-time if you're wanting to transition from a different career. Plenty of ways to do that, but not for you guys to hire that friend who's trying to get into real estate or the part-time agent. It doesn't work, and here are reasons why. Okay, so you wanted to talk about what does it take to get into real estate?
So to become a real estate agent is basically you have to take a class. What is it, 30 hours? It's an online class.
It's like 60 hours.
Yeah, okay.
It varies by state.
It's been a while, so but you have to take this online class. You spend a few $100s on the online class, then you go and you take the licensing test. You spend a couple $100s on that, so probably around $1,000 to take all the class, all the tests and everything, and then you have a license. Those tests, they don't teach you how the individual market works. They don't teach you anything about doing a real estate transaction. They teach you the basic laws. Yeah. Getting a real estate license does not mean that you know what you are doing. It gives you the right to start learning what you are doing. Right. So that's the first thing.
And yes, there are CEUs, but it's largely like fair housing and like you're saying about like real estate terms and all that kind of stuff.
So if your cousin or your niece's nephew, your niece just got her license and you're about to trust her with your $2 million home, it's probably not the best thing to do because every transaction is different. There are so many nuances. Okay.
And you want to help your friend or your family member out, fantastic. Ask them, hey, find a mentor agent and let me work with both of you. That way they have a mentor to help them work through this, and you're completely protected. So absolutely help a new agent out.
Co-listing.
Okay, so for real part-timers, here's why it's really not a good idea to work with just one agent who's a part-timer, unavailable during their other job hours. Okay. They have frequent schedule conflicts, not only because of the other job, but their other life going on around the other job. Delays in responses while they're working their other job and doing these other things. They have very little experience, and experience in this business is 90% of the job. They're missing paperwork and deadlines. Why? Because they're at their other job.
And they maybe don't understand the importance. There's a lot of agents that don't understand the importance that a deadline is a deadline is a deadline, and if you miss that deadline, it could cost your client thousands.
Our contracts change.
Every 6 months.
We have CEUs, continuing education credits that we have to maintain. It's so easy to get behind and miss very important details that
are out there. Updates. The current market data, that's huge. You read what's going on in the national media, and if you respond in the current local market to what you hear in the national media, you're always going to be behind the ball. That data is always at least 60 days old. And you're not going to be up to date on what is happening right now, how to best serve your clients.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And limited time to negotiate on your behalf. This is huge. Whether you're a seller or a buyer, you've got to have someone that has the time, who has the time to pound the pavement, make the calls and everything else. So you need an agent with dedication, expertise, availability, and a strong network. You cannot get a strong network working part-time. You have to be out working with other agents, working with title companies, working with lenders. You've got to really, really build these relationships to be able to offer it to you guys, buyers, sellers.
Absolutely.
Okay,
all right.
Next.
Okay.
Number 10.
No pushback.
This is what you want to talk about.
Oh,
You
that's
take
right.
it.
Yes. So when you are talking to your agent, you want to be guided. You don't want somebody that's just a yes man, that's just kind of opening doors for you, or
order taker.
Yeah, you want somebody who is going to guide you. And sometimes, you know, you might learn something in the YouTube or the YouTube.
The YouTube.
You may learn something
on that Google machine.
Yes, you may learn something in your
That's
real
what my
estate
sister
research. In your real estate research, that is totally inaccurate for your market.
It's inaccurate.
Anyway, so you want somebody that's going to guide you and push back. Now, ultimately, when you're working with an agent, you are the decision maker.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that you are not hiring somebody to guide you and to consult you and to help you understand what you're doing. So you need to feel like you are in complete control, but also have a complete understanding of all the decisions that are being made as you go through this process.
Yeah, we're here to present you with everything you need to know and say, okay, let me explain everything that you don't understand. Here's what we're dealing with. You tell me, how are you comfortable moving forward?
Yep.
Hopefully you ask us our opinion, what we would do, and we could say, if I were this, I would do this. If I were this, that it's a big nuanced situation.
Yep.
You don't want an agent who doesn't ask very many questions, just kind of, oh yeah, okay, sure, yeah, we'll do that. And then they just deliver messages. He said no. And then wait for you to say, oh, you want me to do that? Okay, she said no.
And the biggest thing is, you don't want an agent that's afraid to give you bad news or news you don't want to hear. If you're a seller and you want to overprice your home, you don't want an agent that's afraid to tell you, you know, you're overpricing it. This is what the market data says. You don't want an agent that's afraid to tell you that the buyers that have come through your property said that, you know, that lime green bedroom is just really turning everybody off. You know, you want somebody that's going to be honest with you, and sometimes giving that pushback can be challenging, but you have to do it.
Yeah, that's very, very important.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. All right. Number
11.
This is yours. You're a scaredy cat. You don't like to talk to strangers all the time.
Oh, that's true.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of.
Dang it, I do have to. Okay, I am a scaredy cat. This is not for the faint of heart, unless you get to focus on the things that your ding dong isn't good at.
Which I love this part.
Okay.
So if you're a buyer, you want an agent that's willing to go out there and start calling the neighborhoods that you love and trying to find you an off-market deal.
Yes. How often do you get the one that's like, yeah. I mean, this happens. You have to have someone who is not afraid of doing that and who's really sweet and wonderful about it. You've made a lot of really nice friends from doing this, so that's great.
It is a relationship business, yes.
Yes. Yeah. You can't use someone who isn't proactive, who doesn't practice active listening, which you're very great at, by the way.
Well, thank you. I practice active listening.
Yes.
I just did it.
Also, ask them, do you have a would sell or a would buy list?
So what is that?
If they don't know.
There you go. So that is our list of properties of people that do not want to be on the market that we find while we're looking for properties for our buyers and sellers that would sell or would buy if the right opportunity came up. So this is a list that nobody else has.
Right.
So if you want no competition.
It's kind of like a little happy book. Happy. Oh, I was like, what is this back here? Get off it.
Okay.
All right. This. Okay. Finally, number 12 or 13. Shoot. Why'd you let me do that too?
Do we have a 12?
You don't know. You want an agent who can count. So I have 3.
You want an agent. This is apparently I wouldn't give you pushback.
I shouldn't have even said anything. I wonder who would even notice.
Okay, you don't want it. You want an agent that looks at your relationship as a relationship, not just a transaction. So how do you know that? Well, as soon as the transaction's over, they're gone. Poof. You don't.
See ya.
They never talk to you again. We call those orphaned buyers. I couldn't remember what we call them. So you want.
I was letting you stumble there for a second.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But you want an agent that really cares about the transaction, that really cares about what's going on with you. How do you like the house?
Yeah.
A lot of agents are scared to call their clients after they buy a house because they're afraid there's something wrong with the transaction. They don't want to deal with it.
Which, if they're afraid there's something wrong with this transaction, then they didn't do a very good job, right? They were being shady.
That's right.
And
if there is something wrong with the transaction, they probably need help in trying to solve it. So
that's right.
So we need to.
So we're going to wrap this up. Our daughter is walking in through the snow right now.